Water is so important in our state. I am making it an emergency item this session. And the reason is clear. With the dramatic growth that we have in a state, we have water sources drying up. There are so many communities across the state of Texas that are suffering from broken or leaking pipes. We've got to fix all that. And so what we're doing this session, we're going to provide the largest investment in Texas history in ensuring that we're going to have plenty of water supply for the next 50 years. And to get that done, our emergency item will ensure we get that law to my desk and sign. To better education for our kids is having the best teachers. Well, one thing we must do this session to attract and to keep the best teachers is to increase their pay. We want to make sure that our teachers are on a pathway to earning a six-figure salary in some opportunities, but also that we increase the average teacher salary to an all-time record in the state of Texas. And that's why I'm making increasing teacher pay an emergency item this session.
All right, guys, what is going on? Welcome to another video of my channel. I appreciate you all tuning in. We are welcoming a new guest or co-host of the channel here, my baby boy. He was just born in December. Having to take care of him for right now by myself. Wife is out, running some errands. But I wanted to come and make a video about the state of the state address given by Governor Abbott on February 2nd, where Governor Abbott lays out his priorities and emergency items for the 2025 parentheses 89th legislative session. Essentially, Governor Abbott sets the tone, sets the agenda, sets the key legislation that this year's legislative body is going to be focusing on and hoping to accomplish his legislative goals. Number one that I want to talk about, and we're going to get to the one that's on the screen right now, school choice. But the reason I played the two videos before playing this one is because I thought those were, for me, at the very least, the most important ones. Number one, teacher pay. Excuse me, I think that was the wrong one. Yeah, teacher pay. Why is this important to me? Obviously, while I was growing up, teachers played a huge role in my life, in education and motivating me to go to college, all that good stuff. But also, teachers are key to the education of our children, and therefore they hold a seat at the table that essentially can decide the future of our children and our country. That is the education table. And one of the things that I noticed in the State of the State address was that Governor Abbott decided to mention teacher pay increase before school choice. Why is that? Because teacher pay is a bipartisan legislative agenda. Everybody can agree that teachers deserve to be paid more. Everybody can agree that teachers are great, right? It is a good political talking point or a good political agenda to be behind increasing teacher pay. I mean, who is against hiring the salary of teacher pay? If you ask most of the general public, they would say that teachers are underpaid and underappreciated. So I think it was a political strategical move to name that first, because it set the tone for the State of the State of the address, in that it kind of tossed a bone to the Democratic Party, and Abbott started off with something that everybody could get behind. Even the teachers union, who is for the most part left-leaning and liberal-leaning and Democratic-leaning, they even agree or we're happy that Governor Abbott laid out and listed increasing teacher pay as one of the legislative priorities and an emergency item. Number two, so I can get behind the teacher pay increase. Number two was the investment in water and declaring investment in water an emergency item. Why is that? Because the state of Texas is growing at a very rapid rate. Probably one of the most, if not the most, growing populations in the country. Every year, millions and millions of Americans move to the state of Texas. I'm sure y'all have heard how a lot of Californians have been leaving California for Texas. There's a whole saying here in Texas, keep Texas, Texas. If you're coming to California, if you're coming to Texas, don't make it California. So, yeah, population growth here has been crazy in Texas, and therefore you need more of your essential resources like water to support that population growth. But also, the weather here is crazy. It is insane heat, insane humidity in the summer, especially here in South Texas. The weather is insanely hot. It could reach up to the 105, 115 degrees Fahrenheit with some crazy humidity, especially because we're by the border. The humidity here is crazy. And so you add all of that together with the heat, it creates, the perfect environment for there to be droughts. And droughts affect farmers. It affects the agriculture department, but it also affects your everyday way of life. You use water for everything. It's a foundation. It's one of the foundational resources for life itself. So especially here in South Texas, we have lakes that people use for public consumption that are drying up. We're lacking a lot of water. We always hear alerts that water is drying up. So I was pretty happy and content that was listed as an emergency item. Hopefully that can a bill investing in water infrastructure and ways to get us more water, us Texans more water, and the water that we need to live properly gets passed quickly and signed by the governor into law. And number three, the one that I'm going to show y'all right now, it is obviously school choice. That is the most politicized emergency item that was listed on Governor Abbott's list of emergency items that he gave at the State of the State address. So let's take a look at it.
Our goal this session is to put Texas on a pathway to rank number one in education. To get that done requires several things. It requires making sure that we have the best curriculum and academics for our kids. It means doing more to have the best teachers. But an essential element to this process is empowering parents to choose a school that's best for their child. And know this, listen, more than 30 states already have school choice. A majority of all demographic groups in the state of Texas support school choice. There's a time and a need to make sure that we are going to empower parents to make the decision that's best for their child. Parents know far better what's best for their child than do government mandates. And so we are going to ensure that parents.
All right, guys, that was the main gist. I'm going to stop it there. But yeah, so school choice or school vouchers was listed as an emergency item. Therefore, Governor Abbott is making it known that he wants both chambers of the legislature to move quickly on the bill, Senate Bill 2, that essentially creates school choice or school vouchers where parents can receive sort of a stipend or a scholarship from $10,000 or $11,500, depending on the needs of the child, to go to private school if they so wish to do that. So if a parent wishes to move their child from public to private school, the state of Texas would cover that expense with a $10,000. If the child is not of special needs, with a $10,000 voucher. And if the child does have special needs or disabilities, they will receive a $11,500 voucher, stipend, whatever you want to call it. So that is the most politicized emergency item. But let's take a look at the rest of the emergency items. So there was cutting property taxes. He said he wanted to see about $10 billion more of property taxes be cut this legislative session. I mean, who doesn't want their taxes cut? So a lot of people can get behind that. Creating cybersecurity hub. We live in the AI age. We definitely need a cybersecurity workforce that knows how to deal with cybersecurity threats. Stiffen state bail laws. Basically, Governor Abbott wants to make it the bail laws a little bit more stricter so that violent criminals are not allowed out on the street on bail, and increase the chances for them to commit the same crime on other innocent civilians. Strengthen career training programs for student post high school. Not everybody wants to go to college and get a bachelor's degree, so there has to be other alternative career pathways for people who want to do manual labor. So I agree with that. All in all, guys, it was straight to the point. Governor Abbott laid out some of the successes that Texas has had. A lot of investment has been going on in Texas. A lot of tech companies have been coming to Texas, especially with the lenient regulations that is here in the state of Texas. Texas is unique in the way we live socially, but also economically. So the baby's crying, guys. So that was my reaction and my analysis of the state of the state given by Governor Greg Abbott. Senate Bill 2, which addresses school vouchers, has already passed the Senate. It is heading over to the House of Representatives, and it should clear the House of Representatives pretty soon as well, and should get to the governor's desk. Now, I just do want to mention real quick, guys, the emergency items are important because they can be voted on the first 60 days of the legislature. If they were not emergency items, then they could not be voted on for at least 60 days. So that's the distinction there, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Y'all have a good night.